Welcome to the War Squared Fantasy Football Podcast, a full-service year-round podcast with weekly episodes to provide fans with info on their teams and players. Whether you're a newbie or a longtime veteran of the fantasy wars, War Squared is the podcast for you. Welcome into the War Squared Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Tom with Doc, producer Seth, not Seth, Tobin.
Wow.
I know he 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, and he's already forgot you.
And I had pizza. That's what it was. I'm going to blame it on pizza.
Wrong. So it's the glucose. You're always wrong.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Tommy's always wrong.
All right, we got it all figured out now.
Thank you very little. And we'll start off with Trey Lance. Breaks his fibula, tears ligaments in his ankle, out for the season.
Okay, now you guys realize in the BNI League I drafted 2 quarterbacks. Can you name them?
Trey Lance and who else? Who else is out for the season?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, yeah.
He's coming back next week.
Yeah, that's according to Dr. Jerry, but we'll see for
Dr.
real.
Jera.
So my question is, whose team should I curse next? What starting quarterback should I pick up to replace them?
Maybe Tannehill.
Well, that might actually be a plus for us, but I actually tried trading for Mahomes, but it didn't work out right.
Yeah. you
Yeah,
can't
that's
touch
not going to
him.
happen.
Or Matt Ryan, one of the two. Although I think Matt Ryan is no longer the issue in the AFC South. I think it might be Trevor Lawrence I need to have.
Yes. Speaking of those Cowboys, Dalton Schultz, not an ACL tear, but the MRI revealed a PCL tear like Zeke fought all of last year.
Okay, a PCL, in the knee, they have one ligament that attaches this way and then one attaches back this way. I can do this correctly, like this. This is the ACL, this is the PCL. If it tears here, it's just like an ACL tear, only it goes backwards rather than forwards. So it is a significant injury that he has to his knee that will require postseason surgery, may require season-ending surgery soon.
Tommy, is this where we 2.5 min him? We'll 3.5 min him and tell him that he's a chiropractor, not a real doctor.
Absolutely. That is exactly what we need to do there. He is only partially.
No, I am a licensed healthcare provider in the state of Kansas as a primary care physician, according to my stature.
You're certified or certifiable?
Allegedly.
A little bit of both.
All right, moving on.
Gabe Davis twisted an ankle last Saturday in practice, was out on Monday night. James Conner also hurt his ankle Sunday in the Raiders game. Both are day-to-day, both practiced in limited fashions here on Wednesday as we record.
But aren't we all day-to-day?
Pretty much.
Some of us are. Some of us are like
Hour by hour?
questionable the entire time. Hunter Renfrow picked up a concussion for the Raiders.
He didn't pick it up. He got lit up.
I was going to say, I thought he dropped it. He picked it up?
He dropped the football. He
Oh,
picked up a concussion.
He dropped the football, got lit up, then picked up the concussion.
Yeah. I don't know. Are they still doing that jacked up segment? Because that is definitely in the top 3.
Yeah, that was definitely not a good look.
Hope everybody got to see the Mike Evans Marshawn Lattimore fight where Brady referred to Marshawn Lattimore as little bitch and then promptly got pushed down by Mike Evans.
I see an opportunity for a UFC fight in the offseason here.
Marshawn versus Mike?
Yeah.
I got money on Mike.
Oh, Mike.
All day long.
He's
All
a
day
big
long.
boy.
Kills him.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, and so Evans got a suspension. He's out this week. It was upheld today, so he's going to have to miss this
And
game.
why wasn't Lattimore suspended? Due to the
Because
prior history, he should have been.
Lattimore didn't come basically off the bench to come over and push somebody else
Yeah,
down.
he was already on the field, so he got a pass.
I can buy that one then, okay?
The other thing that's huge about this is there is no healthy Bucks wide receiver.
Hold on. There is 2. They signed Cole Benson today. Cole Beasley today.
Yes, they
Coleslaw.
signed him, but
Yeah.
he there's little chance he'll play. Every other current Bucks wide receiver is questionable at best to play this week.
I guess that means I'm taking Green Bay later, huh?
Jerry Jeudy and Justin Herbert both have injuries. Jerry Jeudy did not practice today. Patrick Surtain did not practice today, as far as what I read, but Justin Herbert did.
Should not have practiced with torn rib cartilage. But that's a pain management issue at that point in time.
Yeah, but he's got spare ribs, right?
Yeah.
He does.
What kind of barbecue sauce thing you got with that?
Jake showed me a Coke.
Hopefully he doesn't get the same doctor to give him the needle for this weekend that Tyrod did last year.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way,
Shots fired.
Tyrod this past week filed suit against that doctor for, what was it, $44 million or something like that?
I don't
And
remember.
dude's going to get paid.
I don't even know how that math works, but okay.
Well, he cost him a starting position, and that's what it rolls out per year for his difference between what he's making now and what he should be making as a starting quarterback.
Okay.
Dude's going to get paid, though.
We'll shoot back to game recaps. We'll start with Chiefs 27, Chargers 24. Herbert throws for 334 and 3 TDs. Got injured in the ribs, but he sounds okay. But they played Jacksonville this week, so no worries there.
Hold on. I wouldn't say that yet because Jacksonville looked really good this past week.
It's in LA. I'll still take the Chargers to win that one.
I'm taking the Chargers to win that one, but it was in Jacksonville. I'd take the Jags.
Eckler put up some good PPR points ahead of last year, except he had TDs last year versus this year he doesn't have any yet. Big Mike, like we predicted, went big, 8 for 113 and a touchdown. Keenan Allen may be back. He is day to day. Pat Mahomes had 2 TDs, none to Kelsey, surprisingly, who's only 5 for 51. Watson and McKinnon got the 2 TDs. The randomness of TDs with the Chiefs is crazy.
Well, that's because they don't have somebody they're trying to force feed the ball to anymore with Hill. Now, watching that game,
Wait, were you watching on direct or Prime? Were you seeing it clearly or were you seeing it fuzzily?
I watched it on Prime.
So it was pretty fuzzy at times.
No, it was great. My reception was great.
Okay.
I had 3 blips where it spun a little bit, but then resumed right where it was at.
Mine was great. The only problem was I could see what the score was on my phone like 30 seconds before it came up on the TV, which is typical where I live at because I live in the boonies.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
But in that game, did the Chiefs win the game or did the Chargers lose the game, Tobin?
I think the Chiefs won it. I think that pick 6 was huge. I was at a
Pick six was the
I was at a
difference in the
golf
game.
outing, and I highly recommend watching a game with a projector on a blow up screen on a windy day. I've never dropped acid, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was like because the screen was like psychedelic moving. But I literally got in the car to race home. The first thing I heard was Mitch Holtis' call on that pick 6. That's one that
The pick six
rack 'em. That's going to be one that they play back all the time.
The pick 6 changed the whole game, but there's a little bit to it. I read it. I picked up Gerald Everett in the league that we have this year that I'm in, and they were talking about how his lack of performance led to the pick 6 because he was tired because he wasn't used to being on the field that much.
Wow.
I'm going the same thing, dude. You're getting paid millions of dollars to do this. Suck it up and play.
Did he not know the season was coming?
He did, but he's not used to playing that much since he's been a.
Summer
Six,
workout
you know.
programs, OTAs. I don't know.
But they limited on this was coming from the Chargers' perspective. They limited on the fact being that he wasn't conditioned correctly going into the game. Otherwise, the Chargers would have won the game.
Okay. Whatever works.
I don't know.
Still goes through Kansas City in the AFC West.
Right now it does. Yes, it does.
Certainly does. We'll go to Sunday night's game. Packers 27, Bears 10. Rodgers went with 2 TDs. Aaron Jones, the one who went off here. This is the game that we kind of predicted that he would have. 15 for 132 and 1 rushing and 3 for 38 and 1 receiving. And I mean, if there was anybody in the receiving core that could do anything, I think Jones gets another TD.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Dillon just okay. Lazard got a TD, but
Didn't look that good.
I felt like they forced that one to him.
yeah.
yeah,
Jones was wide open again.
yeah, he did not look good. Sammy Watkins popped up with his random early performance.
Sammy Watkins is done for the season now. He's had his one pop-up performance. He's done before. He's going to injure something next week and miss the rest of the season.
He is actually questionable with a hamstring in today's practice. Yeah.
Called it. Done.
David Montgomery was the only starter worth anything for the Bears. 15 for 122, 2 receptions, 14 yards. Justin Fields is super athletic, but 70 yards passing, 20 yards rushing with a rushing TD.
Well, his rushing was because he was running for his dang life.
Yeah,
It's going to be a long year.
My question
Long
is,
year.
does NBC Sports hate us?
No, they just like the big market, and even though the Bears suck,
Yep.
Because-
that's what they're going for is ratings.
Okay, they might get a good rating in Chicago. They ain't going to get a rating in Kansas anymore if they put the Bears on TV because I'm going to click the TV off and turn it off.
They don't care about you. I hate to tell you.
I understand that, but
That's why it's on early.
Half of America does that because they don't want to watch the Bears play on TV, just like we get stuck with the Giants this coming Monday night.
Well, no, that's because it's the Cowboys and the Giants. The Cowboys are the number 1 draw. New York's the number 1 market.
But we get that game every Monday. We get one Monday night Giants game every single year. How about them Cowboys? And that's exactly what we're going to be saying. Who are those Cowboys? Okay, so let's move on to the next game, which is
the first Monday nighter,
Was it even a game?
it's going to happen 3 times next year. So get ready for this same scenario where you're going to have the early game and the other one that starts at halftime.
which I think is great. However, neither one of these were really games. As a Titans fan, I'm still wondering, did we get off the plane?
Did they even get on the plane?
They did, but I don't think they got off the plane.
That's the plane that vanished.
It might well be.
I mean, Derrick Henry goes down, gets the 4th and 1 touchdown from the 2. They tie it up there, and then
Then they left the building.
then
And I'm
it was
going,
over.
this looks like last year's game when Tennessee was supposed to going to get blown out. Let's go Tennessee. And then all of a sudden it's like, wah, wah, wah.
And then they loaded the bus, went to Duff's, and had all-you-can-eat wings while they watched the Bills run it up against air.
Exactly.
Right.
And the only thing I can think about was when I was in chiropractic school, when the Bills were behind by at halftime, about like Tennessee was, and they came back and won. I'm going, hey, maybe Tennessee gets revenge. No, not even close.
Yeah, Josh Allen, 4 touchdown passes, 317 yards, 3 to Stephon Diggs, who was 12 for 148 and 3 touchdowns with Gabe Davis out.
And that was in 3 quarters.
3 quarters, right? You can't start a Buffalo running back right now. You might not be able to start Singletary this week. I've heard that he didn't practice today.
There's only 2 Bills you can start, and that's the quarterback and Diggs, and that's it.
I'd argue the defense.
The defense is arguable, I agree. Depending upon who else you have at that
Depending
time.
on the scoring system in your league, too.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, they got a pick 6 at Tannehill. The second game, Eagles 24, Vikings 7.
And it wasn't that close.
It was not close. Everybody out there should have known Kirk Cousins primetime equals suckitude.
That's why I chose the Eagles to win this game, because Kirk Cousins in primetime is,
As
Say
Chuck,
he's
as Chuck would say, terrible.
Horrible.
to say he's a choke artist is saying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when Justin Jefferson gets 6 for 42 and then Adam Thielen gets 4 for 52
In the fourth quarter.
with almost all of it in the fourth quarter, yeah, that's bad.
And most of those stealing balls were dang near pick sixes if you
yeah.
watched it.
Boy, there was a lot more picks that were thrown out there that Slay should have picked off from the Eagles than what he did.
Mhm.
I take 2 things out of this game. One is the Vikings aren't as good as what we thought they were, and the Eagles are better than what we thought they were.
Jalen Hurts is a lot better than what a lot of people thought he was.
Jalen Hurts just became an NFL franchise caliber quarterback.
Yeah, 300 plus passing with a TD. I think he had 334, 50 yards rushing with 2 rushing touchdowns.
And he's learning to distribute the ball. They've got some weapons around him. I mean, the week before it was all A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith. Now he balanced that out. Goddard got some action. Gainwell Sanders. I mean, that's a lot of weapons all of a
I
sudden.
picked the Eagles to win the the NFC East way back in February. I think they've already got it sewed up.
It'll be interesting to see if he can continue that level of play we saw Monday night throughout the season. It's a long season.
It is a long season,
Well,
but man, the Eagles look good.
They're going to the Commodes this week, and they're going to roll us, so that'll be nice for them. Bucks.
Kind of caught me off guard.
It's mandatory. There's your fight song, Tommy. Go for it.
Thank you very little. Bucks 20, Saints 10. Alvin Kamara and Julio.
Mario, I like that.
I'd already started with Julio. Set out the Bucks were toast until Marshawn Lattimore pissed off Brady and pushed Lenny in the throat. Mike Evans blew him up. And then the Bucks D got fired up. Pick 6 of Jameis, and Brady hits Perriman for a touchdown, and it's over. I mean, Michael Thomas got that late touchdown, 6 for 65 and that touchdown, but there was nothing else good about the Saints' performance.
And that was an ugly game to watch as well. There was nothing beautiful about that game. There wasn't anything really, other than the storyline of can Tommy finally beat the Saints as a Buck. That was the only reason to watch the game.
Well, that and I'd called him to win it, so there's that.
Yeah, I called the Bucks to win it too, but man, I tell you what, the Saints are. It's week 2. Let's not overreact. We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks before we make any real reactions. How good the Saints are, but the Bucks look good even as unhealthy as they are.
Yeah, I don't know how this team makes a deep playoff run.
Well, they're going to have a chance in that division and that
16
conference.
It's
Yeah.
16 weeks away.
Let's be
They'll make a
honest.
deep.
What is there in the NFC, really?
There's Eagles and the 49ers, and that's it.
The Eagles, the 49ers, I think the Rams,
Rams.
I think they all give the Bucks a good run.
Did you see the graphic of the Super Bowl odds to win it? And it was Bills at the highest point, Bucks at the second highest point, basically because they're saying the NFC's got nothing really there.
Oh, it's Tom
Then
Brady.
it was the Chiefs. Then it was the Packers.
Yep. The 2 best teams in the NFC are the Eagles and the 49ers, and there's not even any question about that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Cardinals 29, Raiders 23 in overtime. Raiders had this on lockdown, 20-0 at half.
Did they go to the pool at half, or what happened?
They got on the plane with Tennessee.
I do not understand how Devontae's 2 for 7, 2 receptions on 7 targets for 13 yards and a touchdown. I don't get it. Waller had the other TD for the Raiders. They didn't do anything in the second half. It was just abysmal, and the Cardinals just kept chipping away. Greg Dortch TD. Then Darrell Williams got a TD when James Conner went out. Kyler runs one in to end the game after he scrambles all over everywhere. I think it took like 20 seconds for that play.
Yeah, that was like a PlayStation game.
He was scrambling around back there, and he realized, oh yeah, I'm Kyler Murray. I can run this in.
Nobody can catch me.
Yeah, you can only see the light bulb go off. Oh, crap, I can just run.
Right. Then threw a 2-point conversion to A.J. Green, who
It was amazing.
almost dropped it.
An amazing throw. The absolute only spot he could throw it at to AJ would catch it, and he did.
Right. Then the Raiders get the ball. They're marching down. I'm like, okay, well, this is over because they're already in field goal range.
You were right. It was over.
Carlson.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And
then
then
Renfro caught it,
Renfro gets crunched,
got lit up.
and the ball just sits on the ground. And it's like you're sitting there watching the ball, and nobody's going to it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the guy picks it up and he's gone.
He gone.
Game. And I took 2 things out of this game. Once again, the Cardinals, they're not that good of a team.
No.
And the Raiders are a better team, but they haven't quite got the system in place yet to be that good of a team. The Raiders in 4 games, I think, going to be pretty impressive.
I don't know if he blows another couple more 20-0. He might be on the hot seat in year one.
If they stay healthy, I think the Raiders in 4 weeks are going to be a pretty good team, pretty tough to beat.
Mark Davis didn't go to this game. He went to the WNBA championship game instead to watch the Las Vegas Aces, win the WNBA championship.
He chose wisely.
Dolphins 42, Ravens 38. Wow.
What an entertaining game to watch.
All I heard all morning was bet the first half under. It was 28-7, which was almost the game over for this game. 6 TDs for Tua, 469 yards, 11 for 190 and 2 for Tyreek, 11 and 171 for 2 and 2 for Waddle. The first time that a pair of wide receivers on the same team has gone for those numbers ever. They erased the 28-7 halftime deficit. They scored 28 in the fourth alone. And that's with Lamar throwing for 3. And in the third quarter, breaking off a 79-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Rushing.
I checked to see if it was Marino in the backfield there at one point. I did like a double take just to be sure.
Tua looked like a competent NFL quarterback. He put the ball where he was supposed to accurately, but not with a lot of arm strength. But he threw it to the spot, and his players made the plays.
He's got to get the ball out on time. And if he does that and is able to stay on schedule, I mean.
And those of you who are worried about Waddle's utilization because Hill's there, don't. Because he saw, I think, 14 targets, 11 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I think I asked about that early, like preseason. I was like, what about Waddle? And it's all going to go to Tyreek. I don't remember who said that in this room.
I still don't like Waddle as much. I just don't. I like Waddle much better if Tyreek's not there. I don't know.
I don't think it affects Waddle.
I think it helps him with Tyreek there to take the heat in the cover.
I think it does too, because he no longer has the number 1 cornerback chasing after him, and no longer roll coverage that way.
Yep.
Although, at this rate, if they get any type of a running game at all from Mostert, who's now the starting running back for Miami, effectively, Miami's going to be a difficult offense to beat, and they're going to be a hell of a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. I had them pegged at 4 wins all year. They've already got 2.
I think that they are going to game plan specific with a running back. So 1 week Edmonds will start, 1 week Mostert will start, and they're just going to go back and forth.
I don't think Mostert's way too explosive. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be the primary back out of the backfield because he's so much more explosive. And they keep the linebackers up close to the line. That way the wide receivers can run.
That's why Edmonds had a 23-yard rush on the final drive.
I'm just saying that Mostert's so much more explosive than what Edmonds is.
Patriots 17, Steelers 14. Lucky Bounce gave Nelson Aguilar a 44-yard TD, 6 for 110 and 1. Damon Harris got the short rushing TD. Steelers did not get their non-Najee players the ball enough and lacked the
song? Non-Najee?
The non-Najee.
Gonna take a pill for that?
Maybe an injection.
Okay.
They just don't have any other physicality without a monster D effort.
They don't have any other weapons besides Najee Harris.
Yeah, the Kenny Pickett chants are going to start.
Oh, they've already started.
They're going to start in Pittsburgh.
And the big article I read coming out of Pittsburgh was Pickett can't be any worse. Why not start him? And you know what?
I mean, there's weapons there. That's the thing. I mean, you've got Pickens, you've got Freiermuth, you've got Claypool. I mean, those are good ball players. Trubisky did nothing to find anybody and get that. But is it players or scheme at this point, though, too?
A lot of it's probably scheme because they don't have, the offensive line is limited in Pittsburgh. We knew going this, their offense was going to be the stumbling block for Pittsburgh going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And now with TJ out, their defense is no longer as dominant as it once was. So the Steelers,
disruptive.
Yeah, disruptive is a good word. Steelers are now what we thought they were. That is a offense that lacks explosiveness and lacks weapons, with a defense that is no longer as dominant or as disruptive as what they used to be.
Yeah, I can't wait for Thursday in Cleveland. Lions 36, Commodes 27. Scoring was high. Amon-Ra St. Brown leading the way, 9 for 116 and 2. Joins, Antonio Brown and who's the other one? Oh, God, I can't remember who the other one is now. As the only 3 players who have ever went 8 straight games with 8 receptions or more.
Well,
there's only 3 players in NFL history that have 8 straight games of 8 receptions.
Roger Craig?
No. And it's not Jerry Rice either.
I watched most of this game because I had the Lions quarterback and the Commodes quarterback in the game. I got to tell you, the Commodes come out and play anything at all in the first half, they win this game.
Oh, for sure.
I'm thoroughly impressed by both quarterbacks, Wentz and Goff, playing in this game, the system they're in, and how the coaches have put systems around them to make them successful is what they do. I got to tell you, if you're not on the Lions bus, like I said last week, you better get on it now because that bus is taking off and it's going to go a long ways this year.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people are talking about is how when Jameson Williams is ready, this offense is going to take another step. And how Jared Goff, remember, when he was successful in L.A., it wasn't because of Jared Goff. It was because of everybody around him. Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, all of these great players around him elevate Jared Goff.
Yeah, and
Michael Thomas is the third one.
And with Jared Goff getting Jameson Williams later this year, in about 2 games, you go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Swift, and Williams out of the backfield, and T.J. Hockenson is tight end, and that offensive line was going to maul people. That offense is going to be there for a long time, and they are probably the second best team in the NFC North at this point in time.
Well, they're going to have to outscore everybody because that defense isn't putting up a whole lot of a fight.
I think they're going to have the ability to.
Another great test when they play the Vikings this week. For the Commodes, Wentz had 3 second-half TDs, 4 on the day. I mean, right now, you've got to play him because our defense can't stop anything.
Wentz was 42 points this week and something last week. I mean, he is now, I believe, thrown 7 touchdown passes with no interceptions this year for just under 750 yards. That's a hell of a number 1 starting quarterback.
We'll run real quick through Jags 24, Colts 0. There's really nothing else to say here. You're playing James Robinson and you're playing Christian Kirk. You can't play anybody else for the Jags.
You can start Trevor Lawrence if you
Spicoli.
I'll pass.
Trevor Lawrence has taken that step. You can start Trevor Lawrence if you have him and an injury quarterback. You can start Trevor Lawrence and feel comfortable with that.
Not for me. Matty Ice sucked. 3 interceptions, 5 sacks. The biggest problem with the Colts, if Jonathan Taylor goes 9 for 54, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Rams 31, Falcons 27. Rams jumped out 21-3, had to hold on for dear life as the Falcons turned over the Rams, blocked a punt, and kept scoring.
Hold on.
Maybe they went to the pool party with the Raiders.
That could be.
Hold on. You think the Rams are still one of the best teams in the NFC? That game says otherwise.
Did they win?
Yeah, but they win, but they didn't win. It's like me beating my grandson at basketball.
Just win, baby. Stafford threw 3, 2 to Cup, 1 to A-Rob. Actually, 2 to A-Rob, but 1 got overturned because a Falcon was concussed. Henderson scored a rushing touchdown, but I got to tell you, Cam Akers, Allie, if you're listening, you should be. Cam Akers might be back.
He showed a flash.
He showed desire.
Well, yeah, he acted like he wanted to be there. Week 1, man,
Had no desire.
holy crap.
Oh, and watch out, Drake London might be coming around.
My rookie.
Might be coming around. He looked really good.
He did. 49ers
Really good.
27, Seahawks 7. Trey Lance, that could be his career. They had to go to Janine Garofalo. She came in and got a passing and rushing TD. I
The
think
team looked energized and knew what was going to happen with him at quarterback, but they didn't look like that with Lance at all.
I'm telling you this week, watch out. Ayuk, Debo, Kittle practice today. They're going to light up the Broncos in Denver.
Yeah, they're back to a scheme offense. Where they know it's coming out on
No
time, and
RPO.
it's not going to be him running around guessing.
Yeah, the RPO might be seeing its last days in the NFL.
It's still got a spot where you have the right assets in place.
Yep.
But I don't think his decision making is there at the NFL level yet.
Mm-hmm.
For the Seahawks, that stuff this week, that's who they are. That Monday night stuff last week, that was a mirage.
That was all because Russ was in town.
Yep.
And that was all because it was Monday Night Football. Russ was in town. Got to tell you, the Seahawks looked like the Seahawks what we thought they were going to be, and that was not good.
Going to be a long year in the Pacific Northwest.
It is. Cowboys 20, Bengals 17 on a 50-yard field goal to win the game.
Hold on. That's been banned from this league till they win a game.
I got the
just
button
did.
over here, buddy. Sorry about that.
No, a playoff game.
Oh, that's
When you
No,
get the
that's
board in
dumb.
front of you, then you can control what buttons
Man.
get pushed.
Joe Burrow sucked again.
Well,
Sacked
Joe Burrow's
6
running for his
times.
life.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. He's running for. They spent a lot of money to upgrade the offensive line. That thing better come together.
That O-line, I'm pretty sure that every call came in was split right, whatever, look out, block, here we go on 3.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was.
Ole,
Look out, here they come.
Ole, ole.
T. Higgins got the touchdown. Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon both disappeared. CeeDee Lamb got back on track.
Hold on. CeeDee Lamb has had 9 catches for 104 yards in the last 2 games.
Yeah, but 7 for 75 in the last one's a lot better.
Yeah, but still not a weapon.
Oh my gosh. So,
52.
so
average
Jamar
50.
Chase isn't either.
I don't disagree. At this point in time, Jamar Chase is having some issues because his quarterback can't get the ball to him. Hey, but at least he has a touchdown, unlike CD.
Okay. Giants 19, Panthers 16. Saquon totally disappointed. 21 for 72 and 3 for 16. CMC was better. 15 for 102 and 4 for 26. Half of those rushing yards came on one play. I think he looks slow.
DJ?
No. CMC.
Oh, he doesn't look near as
Explosive.
yeah. He doesn't have that
Burst.
one cut bursting through the hole and gone.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but he definitely is playing a lot
I think he's
slower.
playing a little bit heavier than what he was last year. I think he's got an extra 5 or 6 pounds that he's not used to carrying. Although it's all muscle because he takes care of himself, still doesn't look that
He doesn't-
decisive.
I don't know if he trusts it yet.
I don't think I
Yeah.
agree.
That could be it. DJ Moore got his touchdown finally, but Baker is showing that he does not make those around him better.
Duh.
Broncos 16, Texans 9. Javonte Williams owners were screwed, dude. Russ sucks. Couldn't
Told
hit
ya.
our guy wide open in the end zone. I mean, I sat there and yelled for 3 seconds for him to throw it to Javonte before Russ finally tried to gun it in there, and it was blocked at the line of scrimmage because he's 2 foot tall. Cortland Sutton 7 for 122. Judy went out early with the ribs. Damian Pierce had the great rushing game, but you can't trust any other Houston players.
Yeah, I
No.
felt bad for whoever that was their local game. Sorry,
Yeah, I
guys.
don't disagree. That was one I kept going. Oh, next.
Last game, the Jets 31, the Browns 30.
We might have to come back after the break and cover this one because, quite frankly, this one deserves more than 30 seconds of us throwing stuff at it.
I agree. We'll go to break here real quick and be right back.
Okay. Yeah, the Houston game.
So we're going to jump back in here with the Jets 31, Browns 30. Nick Chubb, a monster game, 67 and 3 for 26. Kareem Hunt still got a ton of work because Cleveland thought they were blowing the Jets out,
And they were.
but a missed PAT and Nick Chubb running that last one in gave the Jets enough time to throw a uncovered bomb to Corey Davis and then take the lead with 21 seconds to go on Garrett Wilson's second touchdown.
Yeah, now, all I've been reading this week was how Nick Chubb made a mistake in scoring the touchdown. How can it be a mistake in scoring the touchdown when you put points up and you got a 14-point lead and your defense can't hold anybody?
Well, because the Jets were out of timeouts. If he kneels down instead of running in, they run the clock out.
Yep. I'm sorry. I'll take the points every time and then hope my defense can make one play the whole time rather than
Or a kicker.
yeah.
Damn kickers.
So I had Nick Chubb in a couple of other leagues, and so I watched more than I should have of this game. But
Wow.
Breece Hall looked far more electric than Michael Carter in this game. It was amazing.
Yeah, there were two outstanding players on the field for this game. One was Nick Chubb. The other one was Breece Hall. Breece Hall catches the ball 20 to 25 times a game. The Jets have got something going for him.
He only had one catch for 10 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But on that, he was incredible. Now, Michael Carter still out-touched him, but it won't
Why?
be long until it's reversed, I think.
I think it's going to be
At
this
this
week.
point.
2 weeks from now, there's no doubt in my mind Breece Hall will be getting the 75% of the touches and everything in New York.
Wow, he looked so much better. Oh, and by the way, Amari Cooper is alive. 9 for 101 and a touchdown.
Amari Cooper actually looked like what he was supposed to look like 10 years ago.
Okay. So on our weekly picks, Doc scored all of them. He'll score them again. He'll send them to me, and then I'll put them in.
Sure.
Doc and Tobin were both 9 and 7. I was 7 and 9. So we're going to move on to waiver wire and start sits. Your waiver ads this week. We'll go with number 1, Garrett Wilson. This kid looks great. I mean, I think he's going to be a stud when Zach Wilson comes back. I'd go with Tyler Algier next. There is a reason that Cordero Patterson is not the starting running back and that they were going to go with Darrell Williams.
His other brother,
Damian
Daryl.
Williams.
It was Damian.
Damian Williams. But he hurt his ribs, of course, like we said. So I think Algier starts to get a ton of work here. Jahan Dotson is going to keep catching touchdowns. He may not get a bunch of catches each game. I'm almost ready to put him down for a touchdown a game because they're not going to cover him.
46 and 1.
They're not going to cover him. They're going to cover Samuel or they're going to cover McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Hurst, although he didn't practice today, so that makes me nervous, but they don't have anything behind him, so he'll probably play. You got to go get Carson Wentz if he's available in your leagues because our defense sucks and he's going to have to throw us into games.
And Jared Goff. If Jared Goff is available in your league, you want him now.
Did you say golf? Or
Goff.
I put Greg Dortch on here. Until Rondale Moore comes back, Greg Dortch is going to have 3 or 4 receptions minimum per game with a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. I had one more person. I had Corey Davis on here. Corey Davis is available in 72% of the leagues.
Something like that.
Corey Davis looks like the Corey Davis should have been in Tennessee 3 years ago.
got to give Doc the Corey Davis heartbeat there.
He loves Corey Davis.
I love me some Corey Davis. There's no doubt about that. I think he's finally healthy and going to show and he's going to stand up and show out.
I think Janine Garoppolo is certainly an option. If you own Connor, you ought to be thinking about either Eno Benjamin or Darrell Williams. I'd
Or
probably
both.
go with Williams.
Or both.
If Gallup is still out there, I'd say get him. He's almost coming back, and he got a couple weeks until Dak comes back, and Noah Brown goes to the bench. And like Doc said, if you don't get Jeff Goff right now, you're wasting
Now,
an
I
opportunity.
have a question for both of you. If you had to pick one wide receiver to have in Dallas, who would it be right now?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Noah Brown doesn't come to mind?
No.
The reason
No.
why I say that because quarterback and him have a lot of chemistry working together. Nobody's where they're going to be on the second team, and Noah Brown looked like his go-to guy.
Are
Nobody's
you playing for a week or are you playing for a season or a dynasty?
Yeah, nobody's covering him. Yeah, I agree. Right now he's going to get some targets because nobody's going to cover him. They're going to put their attention on CeeDee Lamb, but one mistake and CeeDee Lamb houses it.
Okay.
I don't know about Noah Brown.
Read that last line on that Jeff Goff thing down there, Tom, before you flip pages.
that Doc said Jeff Goff last week and that he was right?
He was right. I thought that was a typo.
No, it's
I
true.
thought it was going to be.
Are you high?
Not Jeff Goff.
That's what he said last week.
not on Jeff Goff. I would not have said that on Jeff Goff only because they've got to throw. They've got to score to win.
Oh, and I tell you what, that offense, especially when we get Jameson Williams back, they have weapons everywhere.
Yep.
With an offensive line, they can keep him upright and standing in the pocket.
Yeah,
They're
they're going to have to score 35 to 38 to win a game.
And I
think
think they can.
they're going to have to.
Yeah,
So we're going to go to top fives by position. We'll start with quarterback. I go Patrick Mahomes, then Jalen Hurts, then Kyler, then Matt Stafford, then Derek Carr.
I have Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence.
No Patty?
No Patty. The reason why I don't like Patty, I think Patty's going to spread the ball around. I think this week they're going to highlight more of a running game than anything else to give that now their dimension to them. Carson Wentz is also somebody I would put in there because, like Tom said, they're going to be throwing the ball. They're going to throw the ball everywhere, and he's got weapons to throw it to at this point in time.
Interesting to see an omission of Jared Allen, too. Are you just thinking he's going to play 3 quarters every week or what?
I don't like the matchup.
Okay.
Buffalo in Miami. I don't like that matchup for them. I think he'll be good.
Hold on.
Not great.
Lamar Jackson threw for 380. What do you think Josh Allen's going to do?
I think it's a different game. I think that was just a
I think Josh Allen might
think
throw
it's a
for
fluke.
550 and 5, but I doubt it.
In a half.
Yeah.
it was game 2 of the season. It was a weird fluky game. I just don't know that the Dolphins score 42 again.
Okay. Who are your running backs?
Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley to eat up the Cowboys in New York, DeAndre Swift, who I am not going to bet against. He didn't practice today, but it's more of a maintenance day. They said he's better than he was last week. Christian McCaffrey, and I'm going to put James Robinson in here until he stops scoring touchdowns.
Yep. I have King Henry, who's going to get the ball. Tennessee has to salvage their season this week, or it's going to be all hell breaking loose because they're going to be benching Tannehill and putting Willis in because they'll go, can't win this year. We're going to move on. I think King Henry, Saquon, Miles Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, and Leonard Fournette, because Fournette's going to get ridden like a horse this week. He's going to touch the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
Who else they got to hand the ball to?
It's possible. I mean, I say I don't like him playing the Packers because I think that they'll have to score to keep up. But David Montgomery had 122 yards on the Packers. Leonard Fournette's a lot better than David Montgomery.
Yep. My wide receivers were Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle, A.J. Brown, Christian Kirk.
I'm going Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, the right answer in Devontae Adams.
Hold on. Who was better last week, Jalen Waddle or Devontae Adams?
Last week, it was Jalen Waddle, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
Who was better the week before?
They were comparable.
10 for 141 is not comparable to 5 for 42.
He's not wrong.
Potato. He's right.
It's like the hammer and the nail. The nail
For
is
the
not
season-
a
for the-
rival.
Who's having a better season so far? Waddle.
Devontae Adams, because
Waddle.
he's getting paid a lot more.
Okay, he's getting paid a lot more, but on the field, who's having a better season?
Currently, it is Jalen Waddle.
And Christian Kirk is also having a better season, isn't he?
For now.
Only in the touchdown category.
Hey, that's where it matters most, doesn't it?
No, I don't think they are just paying receivers for amount of touchdowns.
And who do you have the rest of the way? You have the
Then
right
I
Adam.
I'm not betting against Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're not going to convince me that he can't get 8 for 120 and a touchdown again this week.
I don't disagree.
Just like James Robinson, until he stops getting 8 receptions, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be in my top 5.
I can't argue with you. He was there. He was right there at mine. I just chose to go with Christian Kirk because I think Christian Kirk's going to get more touches.
Yeah, I don't
But we'll see.
think he'll get 8.
Who's your tight ends?
Kelsey, Mandrews, Darren Waller, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz.
I got Kelsey, Mandrew, Kerry Kittles.
From Villanova.
Kyle Pitts, Zach Ertz. And Kyle Pitts, I'm kind of on the fence with because he ain't done nothing in 2 games.
He has had the exact same line in both games, 2 for 19.
That's 4
That
for
is
38.
scary.
That's not good. It's not good for as much talent as he's got.
And it's not
Ain't good.
that he's getting targeted a ton.
Yep.
I mean, the two was not like it was
And this
2
is
on 10
exactly
attempts.
what I expect. I expected the exact opposite because Mariota, when he was in Tennessee,
Mhm.
the tight end was who he went to every single time almost. Okay. Sleepers, who you got? And Ayuk ain't a sleeper, dude. Everybody knows about Ayuk.
But he's not anywhere in anybody's top 20 right now.
Yep.
So he's outside of there. But
Okay.
he's going off this week with Jimmy G.
I think Ayuk is the best. I think Ayuk right now, if I had to choose between Debo Samuels and Ayuk, is who's going to have the best season going forward. I think it's going to be Ayuk over Debo.
Can't believe that's your take, but yes, it's absolutely right. I agree with that 100%.
Hold on.
It's a miracle.
You agree?
I do. I just can't believe
Crap, I
that
need to
you
change
have
my
that.
mind.
Tommy, this
take.
is coming back at you.
Are you high?
I feel like my mind because he's always wrong. I got to change my mind. Tommy's always wrong.
That's right. Allen Robinson, I still love Allen Robinson. Last week was, I think, what he does weekly. Devonta Smith, he's gonna torch the commodes this week. I mean, I don't see how he doesn't have 120 and a touchdown minimum. Damian Pierce, love him against the Bears. The Bears cannot stop running backs. They just got smoked by A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like Rashad Penny is going to do something this week.
See, I've got Treylon Burks here. Treylon Burks has been steady as a wide receiver for the last 2 weeks. He's going to get more touches. He's going to get more looks this week as they try to build the offense in Tennessee, rebuild their season. I think Burks they go to with no problems whatsoever. David Montgomery looked great against the Packers. I think he's going to have a sleeper week. I think he's going to be a bust out as well.
Yeah, it could be.
Carson Wentz, I've been beating his drum for the last 2 weeks. I think that this is one. Darrell Henderson, I think is going to get the most touches in the Rams. I think he's one of the 2 running backs you want at this point in time. Corey Davis, I've already touched on. Then Tyron Davis-Price from San Francisco is the number 2 wide receiver. Running back. He had more touches last week than Jeff Wilson did.
But he's got a high ankle sprain. He'll be out he might even go on IR.
I didn't read that today when I was going through stuff. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
I'm going to add one sleeper. I think this the week that CEH is the sleeper play for the Chiefs at Indy. I think that
Charles
team's,
Edwards, the Eclair.
yes, I think this is his 2, maybe 3 touchdown game. Maybe one if by air, 2 if by sea. I mean by land, whichever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never in anybody's top 10 or 15 on the running backs list.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of every Chief outside of Pat and Travis Kelce.
Yep.
They're the only ones that if you have them, they're starting, and it's not a question.
Yep.
But the rest of them, it is totally like sportsbook betting.
After seeing how bad the Colts D looked and got exposed last week, especially by the backs, I think this is the week that he goes off for. If he doesn't get 1, I'll be shocked, but it wouldn't surprise me to see 3.
Okay.
We'll jump into league recaps here. We'll start with the War Square Dynasty League, where Billy beat Doc, Tobin smashed Shook, and I took it in the shorts because JT was 9-54.
Wah.
I lost because he had Lamar Jackson and put up 58 points.
I left like 50 points on the bench.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I could have doubled Shook.
Oh my gosh.
Poor guy. But he's in Mexico, so whatever.
Yeah. There were several trades that went down. Several.
How many on Billy's team, how many people does he have from the original roster starting this season now? 5?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Tommy, do you remember what I asked you today at BNI about Billy and Nick? Do we need to just get them a room?
I think you do at this point.
No, because I better be quiet. But yeah, Billy has been. Last week we talked about his trade for Mike Williams and Jalen Waddle and how I thought that in the long term it was a bad trade. And all I heard Thursday night was, well, Mike Williams did this, Mike Williams did that. And I'm going, well, on Sunday, Jalen Waddle had a better day. Jalen Waddle had a better future. So at this point in time, I'll take Jalen Waddle over Big Mike Williams any day of the week. You got the trades pulled up yet, Tom? Because he made another one today. He now has Derrick Henry.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm counting up his original players still.
Yep.
There's not many.
No.
Maybe half.
Billy made a
But
big
remember,
trade.
it's only because we have a 25-man roster.
Does this guy do anything besides?
4 or 5? I just can't remember if KJ Osborne was an original or not.
I think it is because he's been trying to trade him to me.
I know he's had Van Jefferson from the start. So it's 4, maybe 5 with KJ Osborne. So Billy and I pulled off a trade. Billy drafted Brian Robinson right in front of me. I tried to trade Antonio Gibson for some picks so I could get him, but that didn't work out. So he had traded last week with Shook for Dameon Pierce. I love Dameon Pierce. I think he's going to be the James Robinson for the Houston Texans going forward.
You hope he's Arian Foster.
There's no way he'll be an Arian Foster where he'll flash that big, that hot for 2 or 3 years.
So you got Dameon Pierce. He got
Antonio Gibson and a 5th next year for that.
We were giving him so much crap last week about not having your draft picks, and that's how you build it. He decided to get a draft pick. 5th round draft pick is not exactly how you build for the future, Tommy. Not
no.
Tommy, but Billy. But it's a good start.
So then, since Nick had Trey Lance and Justin Herbert, one was injured, one is out for the season. He needed another quarterback. He gets Captain Kirk Cousins, and a 5th for Darren Waller, tight end for the Raiders, and a 3rd going back to Billy. So now Billy is upgraded from a 5th to a 3rd, and he gets a tight end, which he needed because before that he had Cole Kmet, who had went 0 for 0 in back-to-back games so far this season. And Kirk is superfluous because he has Lamar and Tua, so he doesn't need another quarterback.
And then to top that trade off, Nick and Billy went back in the hotel room and
Billy trades Cam Akers,
Daryl
Henderson, Jahan Dotson, and Shook's 2024 first-round pick that Billy had gotten another trade for Nick's Derrick Henry, who Billy originally had drafted last year, and Keenan Allen, and a 2023 second. I mean, I like the trade for both. Keenan Allen's a 0 for Billy. He doesn't need another wide receiver. But
correct.
Derrick Henry gives him a guy who is going to have, in my opinion, probably 5 2-touchdown games for the rest of the season that he can play.
I'm looking at this going, between the two trades, Nick has effectively given Billy a starting tight end and a starting wide running back for basically a handful of magic beans.
Well, he's given him,
although the draft picks aren't exactly magic beans, but
he's given him a bunch of younger players. I mean, with the exception of Kirk Cousins, who Nick needed as in case of emergency, break glass quarterback, who has upside, but he gets Akers and Henderson, Akers is 23, I think. Henderson's 25. And then Jahan Dotson, who's a rookie.
Yeah, I like Jahan Dotson, and I like the two backs, but you only start one of those two, not both.
Yeah, but then you've got the starter in L.A., and there's really not a...
But there's not a true starter in L.A. They kind of split the time.
No, there is, because Henderson still got, I think, 70% of the snaps versus 30% for Akers.
How long does that last, though, with what Akers showed this week?
Then it's 50-50, then before long it's 40-60, and then you can't start either one of them because neither one's touching the ball enough.
There's never a split like that under Sean McVay. There's either a 70-30, there's a 70-30 guy.
Okay.
There's a 70 guy and there's a 30 guy.
And for Nick likes these trades and Nick likes what he's doing, which is perfectly okay with me. Don't have any problem with that at all. It's just, for me, I would have liked a little bit more. Because he's effectively given Billy 2 starters and gotten 1 starter in return, maybe, in a future.
But he gave him Waller, who you don't like because he gets injured.
Correct.
He gave him Derrick Henry, who I think the hits are he's starting to feel the hits. He's not as dominant and hasn't shown to be as dominant so far this year.
He will.
Keenan Allen, who is a walking leg injury.
Keenan Allen is a walking leg injury. There's no doubt about it. I don't like Darren Waller because he was injury prone. King Henry, to me, Nick has made a trade with you where he gave you the starting quarterback from Philadelphia.
Jalen Hurts for TJ Hawkinson, and
which to me, that filled your only need in that league.
Well, it dramatically improved me from Aaron Rodgers.
And by getting King Henry, he filled Billy's and Waller. He filled Billy's 2 needs that he really had. And so at this point in time, Nick has effectively given each one of you a playoff spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's the rich get richer in Billy's case in the here and now and in the near term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's all Billy's playing for,
leading
which
the
is
league
okay.
in scoring. Yeah, I mean that's his strategy. With he doesn't value draft picks like others
we do.
might. I
And
mean,
that's
yeah.
his, and I'm not saying bad things about Nick at all, because Nick's getting what he wants, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing
he
bad
made the
about that
long
at all.
play, and Billy made
Yeah.
the let's win right now, and
Yeah.
we'll see what works out.
Exactly. So let's move on to the next league, the B&I League.
Doc beat Tobin this past week to remain undefeated in the Biggie, along with Joe, who's the only other undefeated team in that division.
Beat me
now.
like a drum. I had like fourth highest points in the league and got throttled.
Yeah,
I beat
thank
him
you.
with 3 players not scoring until they scored Monday night. Then it gave me an extra 20 points or something like that to beat you and score the highest in the league.
Yeah. I mean, you have Lamar and Jalen
I
Waddle.
don't have Lamar.
Who's your quarterback?
Jared Goff.
Oh, that's right. But you had Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
I beat Zane. All of you in the Biggie division are welcome. So because Zane was one of the 1-0 teams there, and I'm the only 2-0 team in the Tupac division.
Yeah, that's like the light. Might need to rename that division. I mean, you've got 3 0-2s over there. Come
It needs to
on.
become the M&M division.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not even sure I can go there.
No.
It's gonna have to be worse than that.
Yeah. It's
Beastie Boys.
Worse.
yeah.
Way worse.
You got to go way
I
farther down.
mean, maybe somebody that was like a no-hit wonder,
Yeah.
yeah.
because
Trying
that's
to
kind
figure
of
out
what.
who that would be, but
Because that's what I mean. There's 3 bagels in that side.
I mean, it's got to be close to the Marky Mark and the Fun Bunch division.
Maybe Milli Vanilli.
there we go.
Girl, you know it's true.
Okay. And so in the Scott Fishbowl League, how'd you do?
Oh, I got whipped because JT was 9 of 54.
What was the final score of the game?
I think I lost by 10 or 15.
Okay, so it was a lot closer than what I was expecting when I saw JT's party line.
If JT gets kidnapped, Tommy's done in all of his
Tommy's
leagues.
just
I
toast.
Just done.
Fade.
At this point in time, Tommy is literally, if something happens to JT, he's going to be set up for like,
Yeah, I lost by almost 30.
I don't know what to do.
The guy that I played had Kyler Murray, who was absolutely winning it for me until he went off in the fourth quarter. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, that was the other guy, 36.9 points in the fishbowl.
Whew.
That
Okay,
was rough.
so not a week for you in the Scott Fishbowl League.
No, it was terrible.
The only league you really did good in was the B&I League this week, right?
No, I won in the Agents League. And
Okay, we haven't
speaking
covered
of-
that one yet.
yeah, speaking of the Agents League, holla at your boy again. I'm one of only 2-0 teams in that. Still the highest scoring team in the league. And Thursday night during the game, Brad and I made a trade.
Yes. How'd that feel?
Felt great.
What'd you get?
I got Mike Williams and gave away Antonio Gibson.
I'm seeing a trend here. You get rid of Antonio Gibson for what you need.
I'll give you another
Yes.
slice of pizza for Antonio Gibson.
And that's, hold on, you've overvalued Antonio Gibson.
All right, I'll give you half a slice of pizza.
Sold.
I'll give you a crust.
Wait a minute.
Pre-chewed?
You're gonna
Maybe.
give me something for a guy who may not be the starter this week.
I mean, the only way you do that is if you also own Robinson.
Well, I do own Robinson.
That's
in
the
that
only
league.
way you would want to take on Antonio is if you already own.
Well, the problem in this league is that Brad, who's also in the Dynasty League, his first 4 picks were 3 wide receivers and Justin Herbert. So his first running back was David Montgomery.
Who had a good week.
He had a good
You're
week,
not gonna have many of them though.
No, he's
but
not.
it's not sustainable. So he looks at my roster and picks out Antonio Gibson. And here's literally what I waited
You
for.
couldn't accept that any. That's,
Oh,
I waited.
yeah.
I waited until Mike Williams caught the big bomb pass, and then I hit boom on the accept button. I said, "Oh yes,
Oh boy.
oh hell yes."
Wow.
I don't understand how you could trade that away and get that back.
That's pretty. Yeah, the scales were not tipping
I mean,
at an equitable rate there, probably. But everybody values things differently, and
that's the great thing about fantasy football, as we've discussed with Billy and Tom and other people. We evaluate things differently. We see people differently, and that's what makes fantasy football fun, because now I get to say I told you so. You get to say I told you so.
Yeah. Now the only thing that might help Brad's case on that is, one, it does get him a running back that is going to play. I mean, Gibson's going to play this year,
running back adjacent,
regardless of whether or not when Robinson comes back in week 5, because he can't come back until week 5.
Right.
But he is practicing this week, which is amazing.
Yeah,
because
this is his rehab week, right?
Yeah, he was shot 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Wait, what was that?
Exactly.
DC's tough these days. God, I tell you what.
DC's
rough.
gotten really rough. I mean,
they're calling in the National Guard. Look out.
the last time I was there, the hotel I was staying at was 4 blocks from ESPN zone. This was probably 12, 13, 14 years ago. And we had to take a cab to cover the 3-4 blocks because we were told not to walk because
Right.
there was a gang warfare going in between.
Right.
Crazy.
And the cab went around this way, went 2 blocks over, and went back up the ESPN zone and dropped us off. It took us back the same way.
And you know how they solved that problem? They put a baseball stadium right in the middle of that area. That's how they
Certainly
fixed
did.
it.
And it's nice.
It's nice.
It's real nice.
You just want to be
We'll
a little
just
careful
relocate
leaving
that.
those night games.
We just want to relocate that. It's not Kaminsky, but close.
Yeah, you're fine.
There might be as many bullet holes. It's just not as old yet.
Yeah, you're fine
Hasn't been
walking
able
with
to
a
keep-
big crowd to the train. Now Nick beat Doc,
Yes.
and Doc's nemesis in the Agents League, Mike Wardo, is the other 2-0 team in the whole league.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how Seamus McSlurry does it, but he does that every year.
It's just the craziest thing.
I mean, it's like watching Ross draft. You look at it and you go, how can that team win? And then it goes, oh, little bastard won the league.
Yeah.
And you know how it happens? It just does.
It's the epitome of fantasy football, though. I mean, you can dominate all year and go just 0-1 in the playoffs, and you're done. It's the classic chip in a chair. You just got to get to the playoffs.
Right. That's all it takes. Yeah. And as far as leagues go, everybody, now you're going to start seeing, we've got tape on these guys. We've got tapes of tendencies, and you probably won't see another one of those really explosive games like we saw with the Dolphins and the Ravens. I mean, probably not until.
Oh, I think we will this week.
Oh, there'll be another blow up game somewhere. It'll be somebody you don't expect.
40 to 40, 48 to 46, something like that's going to take place this week someplace.
Wow. That would be a parlay I would not place a bet on.
And, one thing I want to talk about is the games, we have games that kick off at noon here in Wichita, then 3 and 3:25. What games did you watch in the second slot? Because there wasn't a whole lot to watch at that point in time until the fourth quarter.
Well, unless you have access to other games,
I had access
you watched
to all
whatever
of them.
was fed to you.
I had
But
access to all of
and
them.
you lost in that battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I mean, really, after the first games got over with, at that point in time, it was difficult to watch football the rest of the night if you had the local channels.
That is for sure. All right, we're going to wrap up this edition of the War Squared Fantasy Football Podcast. We will do a bonus segment for everybody who wants to go and check that out when we preview all of this next week's games. So for Doc and producer Tobin,
You got it right.
Yay!
saying quack, quack, and we're out.